Testing.
Tomorrow the sun will come out tomorrow.
All right, you're live.
I know.
Your wife. Welcome to the APTA's fourth Grand Prix event of the season, the Boston Open, presented by the Western Golf Club, Worcester Air, Narragansett Beer, Reflect Lighting, and APTA national sponsors Viking and Uline. We are live on the APTA network, presented by eNet Live. I'm Jerry Viant, along with Mark Fischel. We're about to see the men's final of the Boston Open between the number 2 seeds Drew Broderick and Jared Palmer, playing the defending Boston Open champions and national champions John Hughes and Mark Powers. Mark?
Well, Jerry, it's a pleasure to be sitting next to you after several tournaments we've missed.
Yes, I'm happy to be back here, and I'm looking forward to elbowing you through this match.
You notice I'm sitting a little further away from you, so I've got some space.
I did notice a different setup, but no, I'm really looking forward to getting into this match with you.
Okay, so let's meet our players. Drew Broderick is the director of racket sports at the Canoe Book Country Club. Jared Palmer's teaching some tennis out in California in the Menlo Park area. John Hughes and Mark Powers are not in the business, and they are not only the number 1 seeds defending champions here, but the defending national champions. These teams met last month in the Pro Flight Paddle Tour in the finals, and it was a decisive victory for Broderick and Palmer, the only time they played since last year's Nationals. And coming into the match, Jerry, I think you have to like Broderick and Palmer.
Based on the display that we just saw in the semifinals of Juan Araya and Mark Parsons, it was 2-1, a very quick match. And seriously, Mark, I did not see a weakness in Broderick Palmer's game at all. I mean, they're just mentally rock solid, as they always have been. I mean, that's their big strength, of course, with their racket skills and athleticism, but they look so focused and so sharp. And they've always been the team that just stays in the points and can just wear the opponents down, looking for that error. But they've added offense now, and they really were, lights out on all the quick exchanges and brutal.
I think one of the things that's really helped Jared Palmer's play is the Pro Flight Paddle Tour. He's played a bunch more paddle. Last year coming into Nationals, I think he played 2, maybe 3 tournaments in advance of Nationals. And I know Drew felt the lack of a tough match they had getting to the finals hurt them. This year he's getting good paddle on a regular basis, and you can see it in his game. He's just razor sharp. Yeah,
they've got the look. And then Hughes and Powers, I mean, that was a good win for them, that semifinal match that we just saw. That was a 3-set battle. And they've been struggling a little bit, there's no secret, but we saw some sparks of the old team that got them to that national championship last year. And actually, this tournament, this time last year, they were strutting. They had found their stride. So they're looking to gain that spark back, and they did, show some of that old teamwork and well-placed lobs and getting John Hughes to hit his forehand. I mean, Powers is always explosive off the deck, but it's going to be a test today.
So you see the players warming up. On the right side of the bottom of your screen is Jared Palmer in the black jacket and the blood hoodie. To his left is Drew Broderick, the left-hander, warming up. And then Drew is warming up with John Hughes in the black Viking sweatshirt. And his partner is Mark Powers in the blue Wilson jacket. So the big question, I mean, let's talk a little about Hughes and Powers. They've been very up and down this year. John Hughes had some shoulder issues, missed the Philadelphia tournament, didn't play much over the summer. And I know they felt like they were kind of starting from ground zero when a lot of teams were in mid-season form. Went out to Chicago, got upset by the Rose brothers in the quarterfinals, which I think was the first time in maybe 4 or 5 years they hadn't held their seed. And they'd been remarkably consistent, not losing to a team seated below them for a long time. They started to get it together. There was a money tournament, Paddle Player Open, early January. They destroyed Travinsky and McNerney. I think it was 2-1, 2-2, in about 40 minutes. Looked like they were getting it together. Went out to the Midwesterns and played a real spotty match in the semis there against Compton and Kaler and lost in straight sets.
Well, it's definitely a different feel. They are the defending champions. They are the number 1 seeds, and it's a different feeling. I mean, I know from experience, you're now the team that everybody's after. And they were on the rise last year. They were still kind of the new kids on the block, but now everybody's after them. And sometimes that, wears on you mentally. And you lose a little bit of confidence. It doesn't quite feel the same. And the goal, I think, for these guys is to get back to basics. Get back to those little things that will bring their confidence back and bring that spark back.
And we saw in the semifinals, and what has been the strategy is a lot of teams are dumping the ball into John Hughes' corner and making him beat them with a forehand, the low forehand.
And they need to stay patient. They don't have to win quickly. They just need to stay patient, wait for the right shot, get those lobs up higher and deeper. I mean, that's what builds their point. That's what builds their game. It's just their willingness to stay in it a little bit longer and not go for anything too soon.
Yeah, and they really lobbed poorly, I thought, in the semifinal match. Now, Jerry, I can think of the perfect person to help with this was matchup.
Yes, and before you announce him, because I know you're going to give me grief.
Okay.
It has been pointed out to me by Annika van Starenberg's mother, who is Swedish, that we are pronouncing Martin's last name incorrectly.
So
and
it
you
should
know
be
how I am.
Boström.
Boström.
Boo.
Not Ba. Not
Boo.
Bostrom. Martin Boostrom, who has food in his mouth right now. So let's give him a second, because he didn't expect to be coming in quite so soon. Martin, can you, because I know I'm going to get grief, because I'm always making everybody say everyone's name the right way, but could you pronounce your last name, please?
The Swedish pronunciation of it is Boström.
Boström.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Everybody
like
got that?
It's like the second O actually has 2 dots above it, so we have a couple more letters in our alphabet than the American alphabet, so it's almost like you're saying an O with a hot potato in your mouth.
Okay, so now that we got past that, Martin, you played both these teams in the last 2 weeks. You played Drew and Jared down in Philadelphia. You played Hughes and Powers about an hour ago. Tell us what your thoughts are, how they match up, the strengths and weaknesses they bring to the court.
Well, I mean, if we're starting with Jared and Drew, right? I mean, they're going to be extremely disciplined. They're not going to give you any free points. So you pretty much have to manufacture every single point that you want to win. Against Hughes and Powers, you have a little bit of a safe spot in the backcourt right now with John's forehand. I mean, he can still hurt you if you're hitting the wrong ball or if you're hitting a little too much pace where he can work off the back screen. But it's a pretty safe outlet. So I'm guessing in this match that we're going to see when Broderick, Palmer are at the net, Drew is going to take most of the overheads. He's going to hit what I like to call a little baby cut right down the middle that is going to break towards Hughes' forehand. And then once they get the opportunities, they're going to go after it a little bit more. I'm assuming that when Powers and Hughes are getting to the net, Mark is going to take most of the overheads. He's going to cut it over towards Drew, and then see if you can get a shorter overhead or anything like that to work with.
Now that's a departure from the style they've played the last year or so, where they transitioned about halfway through the year last year, letting Hughes hit more of the overheads and Powers sitting on the net.
Well, I mean, it comes down to it, right? I mean, if you're looking for the big offense in this match, I think the really heavy ball that you're going to see is going to be coming from Powers and it's going to be coming from Jared. The more spot offense is coming from Drew and it's coming from Hughes. So, in a way, the ad side of Drew and Jared is a little bit of the safer side in my way, and the do side of Hughes and Powers is a little bit of the safer side. And the beauty of both of these teams is that they have a righty and a lefty, right? So they can choose exactly how they want to play it, who's going to take more of the overheads until you get that shorter ball.
That kind of takes the sun factor out of it. Complete equalizer for both teams.
Yeah, no, the sun is sitting pretty low up here in Boston this time of the day, so having a righty-lefty makes for a big advantage.
Open. This final match is best of 3 sets with tie breaks. To my right, the number 1 seeds. In the deuce court from Enfield, Connecticut, John Hughes. His partner in the ad court from New York City, Mark Powers. To my left, in the ad court from Summit, New Jersey, Drew Broderick. His partner from Menlo Park, California, Jared Palmer. Broderick Palmer won the toss, elected to defer. Hughes Powers elected to receive.
So umpire Marshall Chapin is the head of the umpires up here in Boston, and he has done a fantastic job.
Martin, any other thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think to some extent, the more athletic the game becomes, the more fast-paced, the more it's going to favor Hughes and Powers.
Yeah, we talked about that in your semifinal, that Hughes and Powers have become the best team in the country at playing fast.
Wait, so you're saying they're more athletic than we are?
Oh, emphatically. not more athletically than Blake, but definitely more athletic than you.
We're looking for some screen climbing shots from John Hughes. All right, see there's a nice crowd has gathered here at the Western Golf Club, and shout out to Drew Sawyer and Genius Chidsukwe. They're the tournament directors here. Genius is the director of racket sports, and the Boston paddle is on the move. They are growing, right, Mark? Just in the few years that we've been here. I mean, that crowd last night for the quarterfinals was tremendous.
And Nationals is going to be here in 2 years, Jerry.
Is it?
2021 Nationals.
Well, definitely been a big upswing in paddle in the Boston area, and this tournament has really attracted the top players to the area, and the membership and everyone has responded by coming out in droves.
And a lot of that credit has to go to Johan Durant, who was really the one who took this tournament from I don't want to say second rate, but certainly wasn't one of the big names on tour. And he made it one of the top tournaments, because when Johan calls you to come play, most people don't want them angry with him.
Yes, well, we've been coming the Grand Prix. This is year 3 for us here on this stop, and every year, Drew sits down with his team and Genius, and they go through a checklist of what they could do better and what improvements, and it really shows. I mean, there's a lot of volunteers that's put a lot of time into making this tournament, and we thank them.
And of course, no Grand Prix would be the same without Shannon Vinson, who does just a tremendous job in all aspects of it, taking care of the players, making sure things are run correctly, keeping things on schedule.
Yep, she's standing, you've got a shot of her, she's standing over there on the side of the court with a red jacket on, and you will see that red jacket flash by back and forth during the match. She's on call for anything needed, any rule, any support, any backup. She
medical.
Really Band-Aids, bananas. Yeah.
Nutritionalist.
No, she really is the north on the compass, and works very closely with the tournament directors to make sure that everything is going along smoothly. So
here we go. Jared Palmer served to John Hughes.
Take us out. So Broderick Palmer had 2 quarterfinal, semi-final, quick matches, relatively speaking. Do you think?
Excuse me 1 second, Jerry. That was obviously a sun issue. That corner's got to be bad for John Hughes. I'm sorry, finish your thought.
Don't worry. I was wondering the fatigue factor.
Gosh, I think it's more of a mental fatigue factor than physical. Hughes and Powers are... I mean, Palmer and Broderick are giving away 20 years, 15 years?
15
yeah, I think
all.
they're pretty happy not to have a grueling semi-final match.
Boy, I think John Hughes has sold more balls off the back wire so far on this match than he did in your entire match, Martin.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the benefit that Broderick Palmer has, right? They have Drew hitting a lefty overhead, so he can get a little bit of a different angle than we're able to. And then on top of that, they're volleying really well. So it's almost like they're baiting him into hitting a couple of balls
30 all
on their terms. But I feel like this match also is going to come down to the first 3 shots of each rally. whoever is able to take those first 3 shots, I mean, if there's going to be a big difference in the serve return in the first volley, I think that's going to be the team that is able to take this match. The longer each point goes, the more even everything becomes. So it's going to be critical for either of the teams to have success in the first 3 shots of each rally.
And you see Hughes really fighting the sun over there.
Well, I mean, you would assume that if Hughes is fighting the sun in the corner, that would mean that Drew is fighting the sun hitting the overheads
Advantage
also, right?
Hughes
I mean, they're
powers.
facing the same way.
Right.
Somehow the sun doesn't seem to affect Drew like it affects everybody else.
Yeah, but I mean, I know it's hard to see on the live stream, but every time he goes up to hit that overhead, he is kind of squinting. So
Deuce.
whoever the lefty is on the far side of the court is going to have a little bit of an impeded overhead every time they hit it.
But I think it's really important Hughes
Advantage
Powers
Hughes Powers.
convert early. So Araya Parsons with early chances and failed to convert, and then the train started rolling.
And I mean, on top of that note, if
Game
sun
Hughes
is an
Powers,
issue
they
now,
lead
you would
the first
assume
set,
that
1
the
game to
right-handed
love.
players on the far side is going to take a majority of the overheads because then they're facing the right way.
That's 2 faults
Now,
from Jared
and
Palmer in
then
that first
on
game.
the near side, you can't really go either way because the sun is going to be behind you.
I saw that John Hughes just asked Shannon Vince for something. So it'll be interesting to see what Shannon's doing. So Mark Powers to serve. And you see the 2 righties serving on the north side of the court. But 2 faults from Jared, very unusual.
Yeah.
Surprised Drew and Jared haven't switched back yet. Jared's not nearly as comfortable in the ad court. Here
There
they
we
go. And I thought last year one of the big turnarounds was letting Hughes hit more of the overheads into Jared's corner. As I said earlier, it was kind of like his kryptonite. Powers on the net,
Love
volleyed
15.
behind him a few points. And that was the difference.
But you did mention that Hughes had some shoulder issues, so it might be a function of that.
Love 30.
And there's Palmer pounding away at the middle of the court.
He hit some big forehands in that semi-final match today.
Oh, what a dig.
Nice. There's that back screen. Oh! What a point now.
This is exactly the pace of play that Hughes and
15,
Powers are looking.
30.
Yep,
And
that's a good
the
comment.
right. That's the athleticism, the movement that they need to generate. That's going to really make their confidence go up.
But that is an unbelievable get by Drew Broderick.
Is there anybody better in the country at chasing balls down?
I mean, I think you're seeing the 2 best people at
30
chasing balls
all.
down. It's John Hughes and Drew Broderick. It feels like every time you play those guys, you have to hit 4 or 5 winners against anyone else to win the point.
These different height lobs from Drew.
And Now we're back to the pace of play that Broderick Palmer won. Another great pickup from Broderick. Oh boy. Good bail from Hughes. Big rib from Powers. I got to say, Martin,
40-30.
early on, I don't see Drew hitting that baby cut at Hughes.
No. I mean, they seem to have a different strategy than I thought they would.
I'm definitely surprised.
Game Hughes Powers.
And I mean,
First
that's
set,
one
2
of those
games
things,
to
right?
love.
Like you have John Hughes, who's fantastic when you're giving him pace. I mean, he's got all the shots in the book, but it doesn't hurt you as bad when you take the pace out.
Yep.
So I mean, as long as Drew can hit that side back screen, he's going to be far off in the court, and he can't really do anything. But at the same time, it's easy to fall in love with the pace on your overhead. So then, once you miss your spot a little bit, then you're giving opportunities.
Really uncharacteristic
Yeah, I was
start
just
for
going to say,
Broderick Palmer.
Broderick starting and with a fault. You see that flatter overhead by Palmer. Here's the player on the left with the blue top.
And Jerry, with your description of Shannon
Love
Vincent, you
30.
forgot to mention that she helped dress the players too.
Oh,
'Cause she came inside to get John Hughes a cap, baseball cap.
15-30.
Broderick Palmer definitely seemed a little edgy, which is really surprising.
wait for the switch back. We've got Palmer on the ad side staying there and taking a perfect line drive
30 all.
right at Hughes's left hip.
Again,
40-30.
missed that one, but it's not an overhead you want to repeat.
Game
I mean,
Broderick
it's
Palmer.
2 misses by
Hughes
Mark in a
Powers
row,
lead
but
first
at the
set,
same
2
time, it's
games
the
to
right
1.
ball to hit, and
Right.
he's got one of those scary forehands. It's almost no backswing. You have no idea what's coming out of it. It can be a 6 mile per hour roller. It can be a little bit of a push, or that ball can come 60 miles per hour at you. So it's very hard to read what's coming off.
Because he sets up so early, so he can hold it and he can wait.
He sets early, and then he's got a very short backswing. So he's got a very quick release on his forehand. So sometimes you feel like, oh, I think he's going to roll it slowly, and you take a step forward, and all of a sudden that ball is coming at you at 60 miles per hour, or probably even faster than that. And you start regretting your decision. And
So-
then other times you take a step back because you think it's going to hit it hard, and then it comes slow.
So both of those drives 2 feet higher over the net. The
Right.
line was open.
I mean that's the biggest thing in most racket sports, right? Your first opponent, it doesn't matter who's on the other side, is always the net, right? If you don't beat your first opponent, it doesn't matter how good you're driving.
But I mean, sometimes players go for too much, too big on the drive, and it's okay to hit that ball a foot over the net, 2 feet over the net.
I agree, but then on the flip side, right, you have volleyers like Jared and Drew on the other side of the net that if you give them a little bit of space, they're going to make that volley every single time. So it's that little bit of sense that you have to hit a
15 love.
perfect drive every single time, so you're going a little bit closer to the net than you would normally, and that's why the mistakes come in the net.
In that last point, we saw the strategy that was so successful last year with Mark Powers sitting on the net, and he was able to hit a drop shot that Drew Broderick couldn't run down. Boy, Palmer is
15
pounding
all.
that center strap over and over again, looking for the right hip of Powers and the left hip of Hughes.
Yeah, we saw him line up some monster forehands in that semifinal against Araya Parsons.
I actually think that Jared is one of those guys that hits his form better when he slides towards the middle. It's a rare thing because then he can go everywhere on the court. I feel like if you're going to let Jared drive the ball, he's better off, like you're better off as the net team when he's going to his right than he's going to his left.
Interesting. That is a rarity.
Right, because once he slides to the left, he can go inside out, he can go down the middle, or he can take that ball with him cross court. So keep an eye on that. Anytime he goes to the left, it's hard knowing where that ball is going to be coming.
Oh, great shot for Powers.
40-30.
And he's got that same quick release off of both sides, Powers, forehand and backhand.
Wow.
That looked like a dead board.
Game Hughes Powers.
That ball did not really have
2-all,
any spin
first set.
from Powers, but
Sorry,
it never
3-1
came up. So
first
I'm
set,
assuming
excuse me.
that.
Yeah, Drew was real surprised by that.
All right, 1-3. Broderick Palmer serving. Because they make that switch at net, so they've got the forehands in the middle.
John Hughes looks very comfortable early.
Well, they really need him to hit his forehand.
Actually, they really need him to make his forehand.
I think even for his confidence, even if he's hitting it and he misses long,
15
it'll
love.
help his confidence. When he's not hitting it and just letting a lot of balls go through, staying on his back foot, that's not good for the confidence.
That is some volley by Jared, by the way.
It's just commonplace.
Mark, when was the last time you had one knee on the ground volleying?
I don't even
And
put
got
my
up
knees
right
on the
after.
ground when I tie my shoes, Martin. We were talking earlier about how Jared is not a conventional volleyer, that he hits a lot of forehand volleys. But for my money, best volleyer in the game. Drew, who's probably his closest rival, it's just amazing. It's staying on that backhand. Oh, great rip. You almost
15
never see
all.
Drew Broderick hit a forehand volley. Oh, that's a good swing.
30-15.
You think that's why they work so well together? Because Jared likes to hit that forehand volley, and as a lefty-righty, I mean, they have the benefit when they're hitting overheads, right? But volleying actually becomes a little more complicated because you get two forehand volleys in the middle all the time.
I think it's a huge advantage that Jared does that. I've always felt that the lefty-righty thing, as you pointed out, is a disadvantage. Speaking of amazing volleys
Yeah.
from Mark Powers, is
It's
a
an-
disadvantage when you're volleying. It's a big
all.
advantage when you're hitting overheads.
It's an energized Hughes Powers right now.
Well, I mean, I think Hughes and Powers, they're feeding off the quick pace. I mean, it's one of those things where it's a lot of fun to play paddle at this pace. You know, win or lose, you're still walking off the court and you feel like, wow, that was an amazing time. And on top of it, they're winning right now, right? So there's no need for them to do anything different. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jared and Drew gets down one more game to a 4-1. I would expect this pace to slow down a little bit.
Wow, this is just some point here. So Mark Powers with a running forehand there.
I actually kind of like John and Mark to switch on this side because you know that Drew likes to take most of the overheads. And now, anytime he hits that his normal overhead, he would go into the baseline strength of Hughes and Powers.
Yeah, I agree with that. I spoke to John Hughes this summer a little bit about potentially they're switching sides. There might be an added wrinkle for him. Oh, it's a Steve DeRose-like half volley. It was a real conservative swing from Broderick, wasn't it, Martin? Ball you might expect to see him slash.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. If it's not quite there, and it looks like he's got a little bit of sun in his eyes, so just keep the point going. You know you're going to stay ahead in the rally, no matter what you do. So unless you're 100% sure that you can do something really good with it, then just keep the ball back in play.
It's just interesting to me how Broderick sets up his feet on the overhead. It really gets a lot of torque from his upper body. Like he doesn't set up with his feet sideways like Araya. And he has generated more spin and added more variety in his overheads.
As he hits an overhead
30,
over
40.
the fence.
Yeah, but you know, a couple of years ago, it just didn't have the bite to it. It didn't have the variety to it, and he is really, and it's punishing. Of course, it's a lefty, so most teams don't see as many lefty overheads with spin.
Yeah, no, you don't have to give him too many short lobs before he puts that ball away in the deuce corner.
Big point here.
Yep.
Okay, back-to-back overhead misses from Broderick.
Game Hughes Powers. They lead the first set.
And the pace
4
has
games to
really
1.
been Hughes Powers' pace. Interested to see. You surprised, Martin?
No, I'm not surprised. I mean, they came out playing this way last time they played, and it was working. So once you found a strategy that is working, then why not stick with it and see what happens? But I would assume that the pace of play is going to slow down either at this changeover or at the conclusion of the first set.
Are you surprised that Broderick Palmer seem a little out of sorts? We've seen some missed overheads, some faults, things that you just don't normally see from them. Now, you don't know if they're out of sorts. We're speculating. What's not speculation is that's unusual behavior.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're not used to getting any free points from Broderick and Palmer. So, I mean, we'll see. That's another one,
15
right?
love.
It's a missed return. And that's what I said earlier. The first 3 shots of the rally, whoever has the big advantage there. Because I think as soon as the rally gets started, they're winning about 50% of the points, right? But right now, Hughes and Powers are getting the free points in the first 3 shots of the rally, and that's why they're ahead 4-1.
Have you considered teaching, Martin?
I thought about it. I just don't know if it's for me.
I think that was a good
30
call.
love.
That was like Palmer just pulled up on that forehand swing there.
A short, low ball.
Now, but speaking of it, I'm having a great time both at Garden City and Garden City Country Club and the Italian Center. But whenever I structure my clinics, then besides the base shifting in the beginning, I like to start each season with the first 3 shots of the rally. Right? If you can't get past the serve, the return, or the first volley, then it doesn't really matter how well you play the screens afterwards. So I spend a lot of time.
Can we just grab that on replay? He's just completely come around the outside of that ball. I've seen you hit that shot too, Martin.
Yeah, I think I got John a couple of times in the last semifinal. I feel like that's like the ultimate test. If you can beat John Hughes with one of those shots, then it's good enough to keep going with it. That looked close, by the way.
Yeah, another overhit almost over the fence. It's not that warm.
$40-15.
Nice fake there by Powers.
I saw him bait you with that earlier today, Martin.
Yeah, but the difference was, unlike Drew, I ran straight into it and missed the next ball.
Just sees the ball so early. Again, he sets up so early with his shots.
You think he sees it early because he's so low to the net?
I think so. And his preparation, his just focus on his hands.
A couple of great pickups from Palmer.
I mean, all 4 players, their paddle is set so early, and that's what makes it appear they have a lot more time, because they do.
Second opportunity to go up 5-1.
That's a great angle.
And there's the roller you talked about, Martin. And he pulls the trigger and it explodes.
Right, but you saw the first one. The one he hit to Drew came out really quick, and then the second one, exact same preparation to Jared, was a lot slower.
And there you see Broderick hitting that hard side back, which pulls Hughes to the middle of the court.
I really think that John Hughes is one of those guys.
Oh!
Wow.
What a move from Powers!
He just waited and then crept up that side screen and
Crept? I don't
Boom,
think
boom.
he crept. He was a
nobody
blur.
saw him coming.
He materialized.
Nobody saw that move.
We'll have to take a replay of that one.
Wow, and with that, Hughes and Powers are up to a 5-1 lead in the first set. Drew Broderick serving.
With the new ball. Switching after 7 games. The umpire counts the warm-up as 1 game.
That was a huge serve. Jammed Hughes.
30 love.
Thanks a lot, John.
It's interesting, Jerry. I know you were always talking about bounce hits, and the speed of the overhead seems to be affecting the speed of the play today. So even though a lot of the overheads that Broderick Palmer are hitting aren't being driven, it seems like the play is faster because they're hitting so many hard overheads.
And you saw Powers just use that.
Oh, Hughes wants that one
40
back.
love.
John Hughes, the best player in the. I'm sorry, Mark Powers, the best player in the country right now. Martin.
I don't know. I feel like there's a couple of guys up there. It's hard distinguishing between them. I mean, one of the things that you could say, right, is Mark and John always plays together, right? I mean, I don't think they've played a single tournament. Well, at least not Mark has played a tournament without John.
Didn't you lose to Mark earlier this year, Martin? It looked like you on the court.
Yeah, no, I did, absolutely. No, but what I'm trying to get at is you have a couple of the other guys that are playing with different players, and they're still having the same great success. Now, I'm not saying that if Mark were to play with someone else, I mean, I've lost to, actually true, I forgot about that. I lost to him and Mick.
You blocked that out.
Same move, you guys. Keep your eye on Mark Powers. Look how he's sneaking up the court.
No, but going back to it, I would say that he is one of probably the 4 best guys. I feel like there's 4 guys that are a little bit ahead of the rest.
Martin, very well handled, very diplomatic.
I mean, it's hard to pick, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they all have their strengths and their weaknesses, you know, and no matter who you're putting right next to them, they're still going to do really well. So it's hard to say that there's one player that is above and beyond.
And they're going after John Hughes' corner. A lot of heavy cut overheads going into that side back, which is... Oh! Nice cover.
Yeah, but if you're looking now, when they're attacking John's corner, they're not going quite as hard as they did earlier. Wow.
Oh,
Great drive-by volley from Hughes.
And that's the
40-15.
That's the risk that you run now. You can see John Hughes just getting more and more comfortable. The more balls he's seeing, the more he's relaxed, and now he's starting to be creative on the court again.
I actually think that John is one of those guys that the more he gets to move, the better he becomes.
Exactly. He's hitting nice, high, deep lobs, starting to open up the court again.
Another great lob from Hughes.
40-30.
Well, in a way, it is a great lob, right? But the problem is the over that's hit before where you don't know if he's going to drive or lob it. So Jared then has to take that step up. He has to get ready for the volley, and then when the lob comes, it becomes a lot more effective.
Big
Game
forehand
Broderick
from Palmer there.
Hughes Powers lead the first set 5-2.
Fun paddle, Jerry.
It's tremendous. All right, let's take a look at that drop slash on the replay.
And here's the blitz. Hit that ball about as softly as you could hit it, but he stole time from them, and they had no ability to react.
Mark, we just want to take a moment to thank one of our national sponsors, Uline. They're the leading distributor of shipping, industrial and packaging materials to businesses throughout North America. They ship over 2.5 million boxes every day, but they are so much more than a box company. More than 32,000 quality products are always in stock and ready to ship. Outstanding customer service means they're here when you need them, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Uline, the best selection, products and people for an unforgettable customer experience. And John Hughes is serving for the set. We're in the final of the men's Boston Open, which is the fourth leg on the Grand Prix Tour, the APTA.
Penultimate event.
It's a good get by Jared, by the way.
Great shot.
15 love.
Drew pressing a little bit. That's not a ball you'd normally expect to see him drive, Martin.
No, I mean, that's one of those 50-50 balls, and then on top of it, you have Mark Power standing right on top of the net. So even if he's making that drive, the chances that that volley is coming back is overwhelming.
John Hughes is now looking and saying it's a wobbly ball. And it's interesting because that's different than what happened in the Guillaume Molenveld match on Friday, where Jess Guillaume stopped the point in the middle and said the ball's wobbly. We'll have to get Michael Montalbano to give us the official ruling on that.
I didn't hear what the ruling was. I don't think I've ever seen it happen before, actually, where you stop in the middle of a point.
I think they played a lead, which I was surprised by. John likes that ball a lot better.
40 love.
Triple set point.
$40-15.
2 missed volleys in the last 2 games from Powers. That's a lot. Oh, that's dangerous play from Jared Palmer there. Gets away with it.
Nice spot.
40-30.
Ball wasn't even really tagged by Palmer. Catches the beam, almost goes over. That was pretty clever of him to hit that ball off the beam.
Martin.
6-2.
No, I think that Hughes and Powers got a lot of benefit from the tough match from you.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
So,
really, they look more comfortable. Don't you agree, Mark?
I give it all credit to Martin.
So if that's the case, then do you think they're going to share their prize money with me?
I was thinking you could have the runner-up finish if you wanted.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Drew wouldn't care.
No.
No, they look very comfortable. All right, well, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA Network, presented by eNet Live.
Only 1 in 3 children is physically active every day.
But now, I'm calling the plays.
I'm calling the plays.
I'm calling the plays.
Because every kid
Deserves to know what it feels like.
to do this. To do this. To do this. So they can be happy and healthy, go to college, be a coach.
Ask yourself, are you part of the solution
Because I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
Why? Because kids who play do better.
Welcome back to the APTA Grand Prix Series. We're about to start the second set. We're in the final of the men's Boston Open between the number 2 seeds Drew Broderick and Jared Palmer, and the number 1 seeds and defending champions of the Boston Open and national champions John Hughes and Mark Powers. And Mark, I think we're just a little bit in shock, maybe.
Stunned. I told Brad yesterday you couldn't be a little bit in shock.
I couldn't be. I have to be in a lot of shock.
Either in shock or not in shock. A little stunned.
Really, I think I'm in shock. Just the way that Broderick Palmer paid that semi-final and Hughes and Powers have been struggling. It's a turnaround. But don't count Broderick Palmer out by no means.
Really surprised at the strategy that Broderick Palmer are playing. Hitting a lot of hard overheads, hitting a lot of balls to Mark Powers. I mean, there's a down-up overhead which Palmer gets away with, but to me is just not the correct strategy right now.
Yeah, Hughes and Powers thrive on their athleticism and they use the pace. John Hughes loves the balls going into the screen. He loves to climb up on that side screen and pounce down, but he also seems more relaxed and more comfortable.
But again, so many balls
15.
at Mark Powers is generating a lot of offense.
But Palmer to miss that shot, that was uncharacteristic.
Been uncharacteristic the whole match, Jerry. He started the first
starting
game
with
with
a fault.
2
I know,
faults.
yeah.
And Drew started with a fault that was out by 4 boards. I'd say you see that once a year, but I've never seen it before. I love how short in the court Powers is playing. Kind of Steve DeRose-ish. Boy, he was right on that one. Just missed it.
15 all.
But playing short in the court, stealing time from his opponents, block lobbing, not giving him a chance to get set.
And that spike where he came up that side screen.
30-15.
That's a great angle to see Drew Broderick hitting that cut overhead.
That was a forehand volley from Drew Broderick.
Oh, he saw Hughes sneaking over to the side and pushed it back to the middle of the court.
Great lob, sets it
30
up.
all.
John Hughes climbs on top of the ball, right, and then hits down on it.
Well, the grip to which he holds the paddle, that Eastern/continental grip, he's not able to get underneath it. To get on top of it. Oh, great volley from Broderick. He needs to be on
40-30.
top of the ball. But he looks as confident I've seen him since last year's Nationals.
Yeah, he's got the look back.
Yep. Game Broderick Palmer.
All right, good
they lead
hold
the
by
second set 1 game
Broderick
to
Palmer.
love. Hughes Powers won the first set 6-2.
So Viking Athletics is the premier brand and the undisputed leader in platform tennis. Viking is platform tennis. The Viking Extra Duty Platform Ball has been the #1 selling ball in the industry for the last 20 years. It is the official ball of the APTA Nationals and President's Cup, and of the Grand Prix Tour. Mark
First
Powell
hold.
serving.
First hold of the match for Jared Palmer.
Love 15.
A loose overhead there.
And Jerry, major kudos to Marshall Chapin, who's in the chair, and the rest of his crew this weekend. I told Marshall that I thought it was the best umpire tournament I'd ever seen. Michael Montalbano also deserves some credit.
Yeah, they have done a fabulous job. They've got a nice crew of
15
umpires
all.
that volunteer their time, and Marshall Chapin's checklist is impressive. You've seen that with the,
The toes?
yep, point your toes to whoever is serving, because the points go so long. You want to be know who's serving at the end of a long point, because they're up there sometimes for 2-3 hours.
I don't notice his toes are pointed now, Jerry.
I think they are. Look. Makes a huge difference just staying with the umpires on the players.
Broderick Palmer are like a wall.
Just giving a lot of pace on their overhead still.
It's almost like the pace is feeding the energy.
There's that nice deep lob down the line.
Great overhead from Palmer.
15-30.
Big point here.
Well, that's a surprising miss
30
from Palmer.
all.
Yep.
You help.
Oh, just missed that by about half a board.
30-40.
Break point opportunity here for Broderick Palmer.
Unbelievable get from
That's
Drew
just
Broderick.
The athleticism.
And there's that lefty spin
Deuce.
that Palmer struggled with to some degree last year.
And that sun, you can see the shadow on the court. That sun is right in that corner.
Me. Help. Me.
Broderick's going to put a lot more work on that overhead when he gets those short lobs.
They're still hitting a lot of those hard overheads. Trying to drag John Hughes to the middle, but have not seen much success with that.
That's the lob down the line, high and deep. Hughes hits a couple of those.
Those drives are such probing drives from Mark Powers.
Nope.
Boy, spectacular shot from John Hughes. Set the whole
Advantage
point
Hughes
up the
Powers.
backhand. be a big hole, Jerry.
Yeah.
Because you kind of feel the momentum
Yep.
teetering on the edge here.
I agree, Mark.
Tremendous pickups by Palmer and Broderick there. There's Powers right in the net, waiting for the Palmer
Game
drive.
Hughes Powers. 1-all second set.
That was a heck of a game, Jerry.
This is the pace that Hughes and Powers like.
This is a national quality final.
It is.
Another great lob from Hughes. You surprised we haven't seen any change in strategy from Broderick Palmer?
I'm surprised by the pace from the get-go. I thought they were going to play their overheads soft and straight and not give them the pace, because like we said, Hughes and Powers, they thrive on their athleticism. And once they get going, get their feet going, like we saw in those quick early games, their confidence went up.
I don't know if you heard the conversation I had with Martin Bostrom,
That's it.
between sets, but he's saying he asked Drew if they were going to play him like he and Blake had played him, and Drew said, no, we're going to play him like we played him at Fiddler's. And I think that's where they got away hitting a lot of those hard overheads to Hughes. Oh.
15
But I'm
love.
surprised after the way the first set went, and that was surprising in and of itself, but then not to switch their strategy around a little bit is even more surprising to me.
Yeah.
But, you know, they've won 3 of the last 4 nationals. And they have an enormous amount of confidence. Some volley from Palmer while he was bailing.
And it's 1-all in the second set. Feels deeper.
There's that big Palmer
30
forehand moving
love.
to his left.
Same spot on the net if I had a marker. Goes right between them. Got the 2 forehands in the middle.
It's 2 forehand volleys we've seen from Drew Broderick.
Just have to be so careful hitting that down up to Powers, and he
30-15.
is sneaking out the side and just explodes.
But that's what's surprising to me, and Broderick Palmer have to know that.
You can hear Broderick calling the switch. Who's going to hit? They leave nothing to chance.
Another great backhand from John Hughes.
From the pace of
30
the
all.
overhead.
Yep,
Right, that allows him to set up, and the ball's already traveling towards the net.
a backside overhead. Oh,
John
is this the
Hughes
same
is
John Hughes?
elevated.
Is he the same John Hughes?
Yeah.
Do they substitute a different John Hughes?
It just goes to show you just how much the mental part of the game plays. His belief.
There's an amazing volley from Jared Palmer. I don't quite understand how he did it.
I mean, we talk about that. We're just so used to Broderick Palmer being mentally tough that it's never in question. I never question they're going to be mentally prepared or that they don't believe. It's everybody else that's playing is what is working on the mental part. They're just rock solid no matter what.
Safe break point there. Oh, huge rip from Powers.
Oof.
Close.
Yeah. Just attack, counter-attack.
Great track down from Palmer.
Oh,
What an exchange.
this is some point. Deuce 1-all. Feels like match point, Mark.
Oh, what a get from Palmer. He barely finished swinging at the first shot.
Smart lob by Broderick there.
Oh,
Oh,
brilliant play from all four players, but especially
Advantage, Hughes
Powers. Just saw the opening, took advantage of it, and caught Broderick in transition.
really spectacular play.
Powers
Deuce.
wants that one back.
But that's the kind of pressure. Your Broderick serves a big serve right at him, handcuffs him.
Another great return from Hughes.
Oh, both went for the same ball.
Oh, you don't see Drew Broderick get
Advantage,
beaten by the
Hughes
spin.
Powers.
Maybe more than once a year. Great overhead there
Heavy, heavy cut.
after a great forehand, and Hughes has got his mojo back in a big way. Again, that down up overhead.
That's a better pace from Palmer, I think. A little slower. Just see what he can do without Hughes, without the pace.
I don't think they're interested, Jerry.
Well, of course, they have tremendous confidence in their ability to volley anything. Too good.
Well, that ball was hit off the very top of Drew Broderick's paddle.
Yep, that is just
Deuce,
too good.
deuce. Yep.
Drew says he blocked that shot out of his mind. Couple of break points saved from Broderick Palmer. John Hughes is just ripping it right now. Wow, some volley there. Palmer's gotten beat a couple of times short in the court.
Just wide.
Advantage Hughes Powers.
You see a little fist pump from John Hughes. I mean, he is really working hard.
Deuce.
And again, under pressure, Broderick serves bigger. very relaxed, very confident. I mean, their ideal performance state is so even killed.
Boy, that's 3 or 4 in a row. He's just ripped through.
And that sun, Hughes is looking right into the sun.
The match has a completely different
Advantage
feel. I
Hughes
mean,
Powers.
previous matches, teams were struggling to win points against Broderick Palmer. Here, Broderick Palmer is struggling to hold serve, struggling to win games. With that Hughes backhand off the backside wire overhead's been terrific, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So, Mark, that we've been used to watching Broderick Palmer play one way.
Oh, what a
Consistency.
move from
Oh,
Hughes.
there it is.
Game
Leaping
Hughes
fist
Powers.
pump.
They lead the second set 2-1.
Right, that just hang
Hughes
in
Powers
there,
won the
hang in
first set
there, hang
6-2.
in there, and just make the opponents
When
try
do they
something
change?
different.
When do they change their strategy, Jerry?
Right, I know. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that it's going on right now, and also they can see the strength that Hughes is just getting better and better. Have a look. We've got a replay.
And there he
There it
dashes
is,
up
and
the
that's-
side wire.
I mean, it couldn't be any more fun for him, right?
Yeah, it's the way they want to play.
Good
Catches the lead
capture.
court, but tremendous.
All right, Mark. I am thrilled to bring in Amin Kadori.
We are thrilled.
We are thrilled.
We-
Yes, we are thrilled. Sorry, where are you? Come over here, Amin. He's the head of the Boston League, and he's heading up an APTA initiative to have the ratings of every player in the country, right? Calculate. Let's get that up a little bit closer. I think you're on. Is he on? So, Amin, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
And can you explain to everybody what this new rating is and how it works and all the benefits?
Sure. Yeah, happy to. And thanks for having me here. So the APTA with paddlescores.com have collaborated to create was essentially a handicap for individual paddle players, so that we can do a better job of really differentiating skill levels up and down every league. Currently we've been beta testing in Boston for the last couple of years, and it's working great. We have everybody in our league, 1,300 players, rated on a scale of 0 to 80, with the exception of a few of our pros here who actually have gone down into the negative territory.
And this rating is going to be for every player.
Right, so it's I should say it's called the PTI, the Platform Tennis Index, and it's for every player that plays in our league. Actually, the Chicago League has just turned it on recently in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Philadelphia is using it, and I believe a couple other leagues are allowing captains to see their players' ratings right now, but as they test it out. But a lot of other leagues are evaluating as well.
So
And
the
is it similar to the UTR in tennis?
It's similar. They really have created and developed it just for paddle, but it's a similar type of algorithm, yes. And it rewards winning and then how you play versus expectations based on the difference in the ratings of the two teams.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so the number one thing that Amin was telling me about, Mark, is stacking, which
Yes, so
eliminated it in Boston area.
stacking has pretty much gone by the wayside in Boston because you have to submit your lineups, and we can see once you've posted your scores, whether the one team was actually truly better rated than the 2 team versus the 3 team versus the 4 team. So it really has done a good job of eliminating stacking in our league.
Harry DeMott says hello from Stanwich.
Hi, Harry.
Love.
Long time.
Maybe he'll get you out on the Stanwich golf course this summer.
Excellent, thank you. I'll take him up on that. Yep. So I was showing the rating system to Mark Parsons yesterday, just since he helps run the Westchester County League, and he's saying, can you pull up? We've been looking at some of the Fairfield County players because one of the leagues is on the Paddle Scores site. And so we have everyone there rated in the background. They don't see them yet, but he was like, could you pull up a match I played the other night? Because I'm sure this team I played against stacked. So we pulled up the score, and he was absolutely right. They
40,
made the one team a
50.
lot weaker and the 2 and 3 team a little stronger. And so that's what it'll help with.
And Hughes is serving 2-1, 40-15.
I don't know, Jerry. If their names weren't Broderick Palmer, I'd be saying they're in big trouble. Missed volleys, I mean,
Game,
really
Hughes Powers,
surprising, and they
the second
continue to
set,
hit the
3
hard
games to
overheads
1.
and continue to generate the energy for Hughes Powers.
And I mean, if with different leagues using it, you'll be able to have some matchups.
Yeah, the hope is as more and more leagues adopt it, we can start doing a lot more inter-league play, because you know, it's a little tougher to go travel, but if you know you're going to get great matches because you have players all rated the same level, it could be a lot of fun.
And how is the APTA handling this in terms of who is it available to?
So right now it's available. You need to be on the Paddle Scores League website, and they help develop the algorithm and the rating system. And then anyone who's an APTA member will have a rating next to their name.
That's tremendous. Great value added for the APTA. Kudos to Scott Bondurant, Tiernan Cavana, Pete Rose, all the people that worked on it with you.
And another big advantage to it, Mark, I was talking to him, I mean, for the pros and the captains, it helps
Set
with their lineup. I mean, it takes tremendous pressure. Because
and it helps move people from team to team.
Excuse me one second.
Yeah.
That was just a tremendous
Love
backhand
15.
from Hughes as they continue rolling. Caught Palmer off the net. Sorry, I mean, go ahead.
No, it's just the awkward decisions of who plays on what teams within clubs gets a lot easier when you have an objective rating system that can help captains, commissioners, pros move people around.
And I mean, I know you're coming on the APTA board this year. I think you're going to bring a lot of energy and excitement to
Love
it.
30.
Well, thanks,
Really
man.
excited to have you.
I'm excited to be on it. I really am.
and if captains and league people wanted to find out about how to,
Yeah, I would say
Get on.
you can contact me or contact Ann Sheedy, the executive director of the APTA, and we can get people set up. And maybe one of the biggest changes that ratings have brought to our league are the number of tournaments we now run. When we used to just run this one, which is a great tournament, and one other tournament, which is really for people, maybe a couple levels down from this, but it was really only addressing tournament play for maybe 100 of the players of the 1,300 in our league. And now we have 7 tournaments, each for a different skill level. You have there's rating thresholds where you would be ineligible if you're too good for certain tournaments. And now we have tournaments that are really available to probably 1,000 players in our league. And it's getting a lot more tournament play out and really getting more people hooked.
That's just tremendous. Really exciting. Boy, some
Love
really
40.
unusual misses this game, Jerry. A couple of volley errors. That was an overhead under no duress whatsoever.
Yes.
Game, Hughes Powers.
Jerry, is it
They
too
lose
early to say they're in
can't-
trouble?
4 games to 1.
They're
They won
definitely
the
in
first
trouble.
set
The
6-2.
the turnaround is just amazing to me. From Hughes and Powers, their confidence, and like I said, the Broderick Palmer continue to give them the pace that they can generate, and are not throwing that ball down the middle and making Hughes hit it more off the deck.
I'm completely shocked.
I know, a little bit speechless.
If Jerry Viant was here, she might say the water's going down the drain.
I might say that, but it's Broderick Palmer and it's very hard.
They're
Very
never
hard.
done.
They're never out. They're
I told you
just
once I saw them
solid.
win a match after they shook hands, they still came back and won.
Yeah. So I mean, it's great to see all the Boston supporters out here. They're lovers of paddle.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm sure we were a little disappointed. I'm sure there was a little disappointment that we didn't have a couple of our local favorites, Johan, Steve Mitchell, Thomas Noel, and Adam Gart in the semis or the finals. But still, I mean, paddle at this level is so much fun to watch, and it's just so entertaining.
And we get to see some of Johan yesterday, which is always a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Mark Powell serving 4-1
Love
the
15.
second set, having won the first set 6-2.
Boy, Palmer unloaded on that forehand.
Oh,
Great get from Powers, and a really
Love
smart shot
30.
from Palmer.
started by the cut drop from Broderick.
Yep. Looks like Palmer's really amping it up right now. What a volley. But why that overhead? Boy, that sound the ball makes off of Mark Powers' paddle.
And Hughes and Powers haven't switched back.
Just continuing with that hard overhead.
There's a switch. Hughes is back at his side.
Great overhead there from
Love
Broderick.
40.
A lot of action on the overheads from Broderick Palmer because the lobs have gotten a little bit shorter from Hughes and Powers.
There's a great dipping forehand from
Game
Palmer, and they get
Broderick
one of the breaks
Palmer.
back.
Hughes Powers lead the second set 4-2. Yeah, it is. Thank you. Yep.
So can I get a quick lesson from the two of you guys while I'm sitting here? I had a question for you.
All ears.
So the I formation that you see players play, like Juan and Mark, I'd heard someone was in a hut where Juan was saying he's starting to teach that to some of his league, just regular players. Is that something that you really think is something the masses can play? Is that, or do your racket skills just have to be too good to try to execute on that?
Racket and foot speed. It's a lot of court to cover for that back person, so it does require that skill set.
Right.
Boy, some more confusion from Broderick
Love
Palmer there.
15.
I completely second what Jerry said. I don't see that being successful for the league player.
I didn't think so, but
It surprises me. I'm going to ask Drew about it after because I saw it in the Nationals as well. When that ball goes down the middle hard to Mark Powers, Drew stays in the middle of the court. He doesn't slide over when the ball's in front of him. See, like right there. Whether Drew's baiting him to go there. Oh! And that's
Love 30.
right.
Yeah,
the,
but
the ball's in the middle of the court and Powers has got it, and they're playing the left 2/3 of the court.
you could watch Broderick and Palmer not have confusion on a ball for a season, and they've had it on the first 2 points this game.
15-30.
Good swing from Hughes, just catches the top of the tape. It's a critical moment in the match right here, Jerry.
I'm sitting forward.
Were you backward before?
I was more relaxed, but now. Ooh.
Little panic in that
Yeah,
call
there was an extra U in there.
with an extra emphasis.
You hear Palmer say, watch it after he hit that backside overhead.
Where they're really moving Palmer around at the net.
Beautiful lob down the line by Hughes. Kind of quit on that
30-all.
swing.
Yeah, you wonder if you're going to start seeing a little doubt creep into his mind. 2 missed forehands in a row.
Set it up beautifully.
$40-30.
3 straight misses from Hughes. Could be a turning of the tide here. Powers reads it, but
Game
misses.
Broderick
Great
Palmer.
hold from Broderick from Love
Hughes
30.
Powers lead the second set 4-3.
And this is going to be a
They
tight
won the
game,
first set
Jerry.
6-2.
Big.
Pete Rose says hello, I mean.
Hey there, Pete.
You were working with Pete with the index?
Yeah, very much so. I think he was definitely one of the champions behind it on the APTA board and instrumental in bringing it to the Chicago League. I think he's a little disappointed his rating isn't quite as low as the 4 people on the court right now, and it should be a lot closer than it is. That's the one thing that we need to do in the offseason. Right now, everyone's ratings are basically, they're not all tied together league to league, and that's something we need to do this offseason. So that we can do this, so you could actually use ratings for tournaments like this. So we're getting there.
And will we, is the plan is to get this onto the website, APTA website?
That's a good question. Don't know the answer to that yet. It'll certainly be on all the league websites.
I mean, we're in the early stages. We'll
Yes.
just get it going, I get it, but it's really exciting.
I think the more leagues get on, the more other leagues are going to want to be on
Right.
it. Because it's going to really open up that inter-league play and the inter-tournament play.
Great overhead there from Hughes. Wow. Back-to-back misses there from
30
Broderick. 30 love. Heck of a game Hughes is serving so far.
Yeah, actually, the wind has picked up
40
considerably.
Just wouldn't have expected to see this game go so fast, Jerry.
Yeah.
Really
But
surprising.
Drew
But it's not
is
over.
looking right into the sun. He keeps looking up there. It's on that left side, and the wind has definitely picked up. Nice peg by Palmer.
40-15.
Great blitz.
Point for 5-3 lead in the second set for Hughes and Powers. Oh!
40-30.
Game has tightened up considerably all of a sudden, but so fast. 5 points in about 90 seconds.
Palmer picked that spot beautifully.
That's
Yeah.
shocking, Jerry.
No, but I know I'm not going to give an
Hughes
excuse,
Powers
but I
leading the
know
second
he's
set,
looking
5
directly
games to
into the
3.
sun. I am. It is shocking, Mark. I agree. I'm not disagreeing.
Okay, 1 point from the title. That's the ball he's got to take right at
15
Palmer's
love.
chest. Great first volley.
Wow.
15 all.
Well, you don't see Jared Palmer miss too many first volleys during the course of the year.
But from that angle, you saw Powers go directly into the court when he hit that shot. Moving forward on the return of serve.
See the wind whipping our banners around now. Amazing get from Powers off the seam. It was a dangerous looking shot. I thought his paddle might hit him in the face. Oh, what a volley from Broderick. Great blitz from Hughes, just a touch late.
It just got a little low.
Another great backhand off the backside overhead.
But that kind of shot and that kind of movement shows us that his confidence is back.
40-15.
Gone.
Game Broderick Palmer.
Okay,
Big
Mark
game
Powers
there.
will
Hughes
serve
Powers
for it.
lead the
5-4 in the second.
5 games to 4. They won the first set 6-2.
Just a great match, Jerry. A lot of
It's-
fun.
yeah.
Fast.
It is a fast pace. I just love the mental focus. It feels like the Nationals. I mean, it's that kind of intensity and that kind of focus, and they're just all dialed in. You see Mark Powers taking a couple of practice serves into the screen, and here's serving for the match. 5-4, second set. And again, Palmer's
Love 15.
rip spot on right between the players. Gets the bowling error. Love 15.
Boy, I'd rather see Broderick hitting the backhand in the middle than Palmer hitting the forehand right now from Hughes and Powers. Broderick's got it.
Here's routine.
Never had a doubt.
So quick.
But I think Hughes Powers will win this point 3 times against anybody else in the country.
Beautiful volley.
15
Tremendous play. You okay, Jerry?
I
Get a little nervous
I
there.
told you I was sitting forward. It's just the level of paddlers.
It's tremendous.
So
Fun to
exciting.
watch.
Yeah.
Nope, missed it wide.
But you can feel
30,
Palmer's
15.
pressure, right? He's moving forward, moving forward.
2 points from the match. Palmer's playing so aggressively.
$40-15.
Another really surprising miss, Jerry.
Yep.
It was kind of a guided forehand. Double match point. Here comes the backhand.
I don't think they're going to change their strategy now.
Oh. Powers with some athleticism. Great lob. A little bit of a blurt there from Hughes.
40-30.
Still match point.
Boy, just firing that serve in with a lot of confidence.
That. Whoa!
There it is. Game, set, and match. Hughes Powers 6-2, 6-4. Jerry, I got to give some kudos to Michael Montalbano, who called Hughes Powers.
He did.
I think he's about the only one around who did.
He absolutely did. Wow, that was some match.
Okay, Jerry, we gotta take a minute and get our breath because I'm kind of exhausted after that match. That was tremendous play.
Yeah.
Let's first off thank Amin for joining us.
Thanks. I want to say thank you both. As a long-time listener to live streaming, thanks for all you guys do. Really appreciate it. It's so much fun to listen to. So thank you.
Oh, good. Thanks, Amin.
Our pleasure, and as I said earlier, really looking forward to having you on the APTA board.
Mark.
Where do we start, Jerry?
Yeah, I know. Well, let's start with Hughes and Powers.
Okay,
the
so
turnaround that we saw from one match to the next.
John Hughes, I mean, he went into the phone booth and got his cape on because that was not the same John Hughes we've seen the last couple of weeks.
So I think it was absolutely a function of that good win in the semifinals. If they had not pulled that match out, I think they would have continued to struggle.
I
agree
completely. But having said that, he struggled throughout that match. His forehand wasn't there. And yet here, I mean, partially due to the strategy from Broderick Palmer, but his forehand off the deck was terrific. It was the forehand we saw last year.
Yep. But I think it was starting in that semi-final. He got his confidence back. He got that feeling back, and he came out. And Broderick Palmer gave him the pace and the speed and the opportunity.
Well, let's talk about that because we talked earlier, and honestly, we had it completely wrong, as did Broderick and Palmer, clearly, that the strategy was going to be to dump a lot of balls to the Hughes forehand.
That's what we thought.
Why do they play that way?
Well, we have seen more of an aggressive style out of Broderick Palmer this year. And, you know, maybe they're working on something. Maybe they're tweaking a different style. I mean, we all know that they can stay out there mentally and physically and just grind down other teams. They've won that way for a long time, and they're really good at it. And now they're adding more offense and different looks and different plays. So maybe they're just experimenting with a different style. But to your point, you would have thought they would have recognized what was happening and feeding in and tried something different during the second set.
And this is the last time these two teams will play before Nationals because Mark Powers is not playing at Short Hills, nor is Jared Palmer. So this is the match that's going to be fresh in their minds, and they go into Nationals as the top two seeds. Okay, we're going to throw it down to Brad Easterbrook on the court with our winners.
Boston Open, the #1 seeds, John Hughes and Mark Powers. Congratulations, gentlemen. That's a great win. So you played a match before where it was a real grind, a tough three-setter. Did that help you guys get prepared for this one coming up, the final?
Yeah, I think it did. You know, we were up a set and a break in the semis, and we felt like we were in control. But
can't hear.
Oh, sorry. It's not working.
Mic's not working.
Okay. All right. We're going to go again. I think the mic is working now. So, anyway, was the pace of play a surprise to you today? Did you expect the game to be that fast?
No, I mean, last time we played them earlier in the season at one of Drew's events, you know, they kind of took it to us. They beat us in 3 there, but they picked up their offense and they started attacking, which is a little different than how we played them last year. So we weren't surprised that they kind of came out and did the same today. You know, Jared with that forehand is so dangerous, so we did our best to try to keep it away from it as best we could. So
well, you did a very good job keeping it away and actually getting the pace of play. Now I noticed you being very active in the backcourt, Mark, moving to the center a little bit more. Were you trying to squeeze the middle a little bit?
Yeah, you know, I feel like earlier in the season I was getting a little stagnant with my feet. So I think over the back half of the season I've been trying to be a little more active back there, be a little more tricky, a little less predictable. So hopefully can bring that kind of play generally from both of us into Nationals. So.
Oh, that's great. And now a lot of those points, those fast points, they seem to get you guys energized. Does that like help you ride or keep your energy up in the match?
Yeah, I mean it does for me. You know, the crowd out here was unbelievable. So it kind of gets you a little pumped up when anytime you win a big point, and they're into it, and we're into it. And Drew and Jared are so much fun to play against. And whenever we have these long, great points, and there's these amazing gets, like all four of us are just kind of thumbs up to each other. It's just a great little rivalry we've got, and it's a lot of fun out there. So,
well, as the season gets to a close, this must feel really good for the confidence going up in the next few events. And are you going to play Short Hills and then Nationals after that?
I unfortunately can't make Short Hills. I have a wedding, but John's playing with Sebi, right?
Yeah.
All right, terrific.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations again, guys, on a great performance here. To the winners of our Boston Open, John Hughes and Mark Powers. And we'll see everybody in 2 weeks at Short Hills. And that's a wrap, delivered by Uline.